Hi, welcome. Hi, you. Hi, welcome to the Seen, Heard, and Loved podcast. This is Tafadza, or Project Tafadza. A friend of mine asked me, like, maybe it was like a couple of weeks ago. He asked me, why Project Tafadza? And I'm like, oh, because I'm a work in progress. He's like, I had a feeling. he's like, I had a feeling that's what it was. I'm like, yeah, I'm a work in progress. So, and I was like, yeah, it's a whip. And he's like, what? And then we're both like, I should have said whip Tafadza. And then like, oh, that would have been a disaster. So, project. I'm a work in progress. So, that's a little bit of context. Whoever cared about it, but I'm just gonna move on. In today's topic, I feel like those people feel like, the different podcasts. So today's topic, or like a teacher is like, okay, in today's class, but it really isn't. You can tell that I'm trying to, skip around this thing. But anyways, in today's chat and today's conversation, I really was just compelled to, get up, keep going, and record this. I've had such a busy week. It's been a hectic couple of weeks, actually. There's a point in time that I got quite sick. It was scary, but I thank God that I made it through, and then just getting back to work and, adjusting. It was chilled, and then all of a Sunday, like the wave just hit me, and I'm in the midst of that wave, and just trying to navigate that and trying to navigate my feelings, how I'm showing up, trying to do the right thing, priorities. But the days are just bleeding into each other, and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm so tired. So I am a bit tired, but there is something that I had a moment with God about one of the mornings on my way to work, and I was watching this. I was watching / listening because I was driving, so I wasn't watching because I was paying attention on the road. Don't worry, but I was watching this episode, or this interview rather, and this lady, she goes by Shantae Tribbett. So she's Ty Tribbett, if anyone knows him, infamous gospel artist, Ty Tribbett's wife, and she was speaking about how she grew up in fear. And how she, her view of God was the fact that, she knew that God loved her, but she didn't really think that God liked her because, she had an experience, from the moment that she was born. She was born out of wedlock. So basically, like, her parents were not married. Her mother married someone else, had a stepfather, so she knew the stepfather was helping the mom to take care of her. And it's not like he was a bad man. He really was there. He was present. He cared for her. But they had a son, and she just felt like, he loves his son, and she just felt like, well, I don't want to make any mistake. I'm going to just tiptoe around everything. She didn't want to be present or make it known that she's present because, she didn't want to feel like, oh, I'm a burden for you, and all of these things. So she was just giving that backstory of her life, and just this whole thing of all her life people pleasing into her adulthood. She's even a pastor, and how people pleasing just got into situations where she'll be overextending herself, for people. Someone who's in lack, she would be giving, but is operating from this place of fear. That fear was driving her need to please people, and then that drove anxiety, and that drove high blood pressure. Imagine that. So literally, as she is, beautiful woman living her life, she's a mom, she's a wife, she's a pastor, she's all of these things, but she had high blood pressure. So she went to the doctor, and I'm now busy telling her full story. But she went to the doctor, and they were doing like multiple tests and everything like that. And the doctors were like, okay, cool. Like, have you ever been tested for anxiety? And she was like, not to my grown age. I'm paraphrasing, but she was like, that's embarrassing. She said that. It's like, that's embarrassing. Like, I'm a pastor of like a whole church. I'm busy helping people, speaking about faith, but here I am getting diagnosed with anxiety disorder. So, they were like, no, it's your anxiety that's driving your high blood pressure. And that for me really hit me, was the fact that, fear leading to people pleasing, that led to anxiety, that led to high blood pressure. Her body was not okay. Her body took a toll. And, she went into a space where she basically took a break from everything, went to, spend time with God for 40 days. And she obviously was now trying to navigate the source of everything, the source of, her anxiety, the people pleasing, the fear. And, it was such a beautiful share from her. I mean, I'm saying it the way that I'm saying it, but the way she shared it in those 6 minutes, like, it changed everything for me. And she really just spoke about how God unraveled, how she was just operating from a place of fear, and everything that she was doing, she was, doing God's job, and trying to take care of people from a place of fear, because she wanted that approval. She didn't feel enough. She didn't feel like God actually liked her. So how she was showing up in the world, was driving from that kind of place. And I remember I was in the car, and for the past couple of weeks on my way to work, whenever I'm listening to a sermon, there's a point in time on the road I just start crying, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so deep, it's so bad, oh my gosh. And I'm like, God, I can't be crying on the road. No, oh no. But that one I wept. Yeah, that one I wept, because there was a moment in time prior to this, a while ago, where I was just like, what, God, why am I so fearful? Like, why am I so fearful? Because I realized that there's moments where I just have this fear, and it's like fear mixed with anxiety, but it's like, oh my gosh, my future, oh my gosh, right now, oh my gosh, my past, oh my gosh, this. And trying to find the root, trying to find the understanding, taking it back to my parents or my upbringing or whatever it is, or what people have said. Or it's like, but the rejections, the disappointments, and this, that, and the other, work experiences, friend experiences, relationship experiences. And I'm like, the fear didn't start in my adulthood. It started way back then. And I can't pinpoint a turning point that says, like, that shows me, like, okay, cool, this is where fear started. I think it was just like the micro moments, it was micro moments. For example, like when either one of my parents raised their voices at me, that really affected me. Because I felt like they didn't like me. I felt like I did something so wrong. I was the kind of child that, yes, the one black child that didn't get beaten. But because fear came in so quick, so quick and so fast, my fear went from 0 to 100 real quick. Before anyone could even say, we're going to now actually go fetch the stick, go fetch the belt. My other siblings can say otherwise. But I had so much fear as a child. Ugh, man. And I don't know why. And a part of me feels like it's because I just wanted people to like me. I wanted people to love me as I love them. I wanted people to care for me as I care for them. And I think I felt like if I did everything that I did, if I loved it, I cared, and I did, and I took care of, and I managed, and whatever, then someone would tell me, well done, you're so good, I love you, look at you, I'm so proud of you. But then now you have this anxiety and this fear, and you're just kind of like, spiraling, you know. So it's something I'm navigating, this thing of fear, but most importantly, this thing of approval. Finding approval, seeking approval, needing approval. Because that for me is where everything is just spiraling, and it's a tornado, and it's just going, this need of approval. And I've been having a whole lot of like ups and downs in the past couple of weeks, and I thank God, you know, he's been with me in those ups and downs and helping me understand certain things, giving me revelation or giving me a peek of certain things where it's like, oh, okay, I didn't think about that, I didn't know that, you know. But yeah, fear that leads to anxiety, that leads to people pleasing, for me, needing that approval. Yeah, it has been a challenge. It has been a challenge. And you know, Shantae said, like, you know, people pleasing can turn into sickness, and it's something that has been really affecting me, that I can feel in my body when I am stressed. I can feel in my body when I'm out of whack. I can feel in my body when I've conscientized someone else and what I am doing to meet whatever expectation, unheard of expectation I think they have of me, you know. I had a moment today where I felt this immense pressure, and I felt like it was unfair, and I was, you know, I've been going, trying to meet these deadlines, you know, it's pitching, it's this, it's that. And the kind of person that I am is that, you know, I don't want to disappoint my team. I want to show up and show out. I want to give the best. I want this thing to be perfect. You know, at some points in time, I try to control certain things because I'm like, this thing needs to be perfect. It needs to come out in a certain way, and be like, yeah, I did that. You know, can I just be honest? I'm just going to be humble, honest, and transparent, as Mike Todd likes to say. But it's like, I want to still get approval in that way. Okay. And when things go out of whack, when things are like not going the way I had planned, and a spanner gets thrown in the works, ooh, you know, when some companies, agencies, or whatever say they're agile, me, agility, no, child. Agility, I won't lie. Let me not lie to myself. Like, yeah, in that moment, I just feel like, seriously, this could have gone otherwise. I could have had time. I could have done this. It could have been. So I get a bit consumed by that, but thank God for grace, because I need to work through that for my future. But what was quite critical for me, or what was clear for me when I had just had the moment, was like, okay, what I was feeling was not necessarily like, it was stress, yes, but I was feeling afraid. I felt afraid because I was like, I don't want to show up unprepared, like I hadn't done my job. And, you know, like my thoughts were not right, like my work was not right, because yes, we know that there's imposter syndrome and everything like that, and like, you know, not trying to show up like, okay, cool, now I'm going to get revealed, because I don't necessarily think it's that. I think it's really this thing of like, you know, I can't show up to these people unprepared, you know, I need their yes, you know. I'm used to like getting in there and they're like, oh, Taffy, this is cool, you know, oh yeah, I really like this, yeah, let's go, good to go, no word from me, nothing from my side. You know, and I'm just like, okay, but that approval, that yes that fuels you, and you're just kind of like, okay, I'm not stupid, okay, this was actually in the right direction, okay, I was actually right, you know. So all of that stuff ends up like feeding those insecurities, you know. And, you know, I got the feedback, and I got, you know, initial feedback, and it just was making me doubt myself completely when someone else has another thought. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then I start spiraling. I was frustrated. I was angry. I was tired, and I was nervous. I was so nervous because now I was trying to balance that and something else. But I realized that everything, it wasn't like it was a lot of stuff, but what I realized was that I was caring more about what people thought about me than about what people thought about the work. I cared more about what people thought about me than about what the work actually was, what the work needed to be. The work was the work, and I think the output will always be the output, but what mattered more for me was like, what kind of strategist am I in the room? Am I the kind of strategist that gives creatives, crap work to nothing to work with? Like, what the hell is this? Now we don't have enough time. We're pressed for time because of you, whatever. No one has ever said that to me, but because in my mind, it's like moving. You're like, okay, what if, people pleasing can turn into sickness. People pleasing can turn into the spiraling, and it really affected me. And I was like, okay, Tef, like, this is actually a problem. It really is a problem, and it's something I'm really trying to navigate, this idea of approval and needing it, and just obviously kind of just coming from this place of like, will I ever feel enough? Will I ever feel worthy? Will I ever feel like people care about me? Will I ever feel like the work can be separated from me? Will I ever feel like I can step out of all of this and just move with peace, with groundedness, with surety, with security, with worthiness, and even if I think back, my biggest areas would be like, seeking approval from authority, seeking approval from my mom and my dad, seeking approval from teachers. Okay. I'll try my best not to be like a teacher's pet, but the teacher's pet, I'll look at them like, really, I could have done that. So seeking approval from them, seeking approval from friends. Growing up, you kind of like, okay, cool, if the friend is going to do that, okay, I want to show up, I want to do that. Just so that they can approve me, so that they can say, okay, cool, you are cool, you can roll with us. Seeking approval from boys, mess. We've spoken about this already, but seeking approval from them, and seeking approval from bosses as well. These authorities who, you feel like they have the power to say, yes, need her in the room, yes, she must be elevated, yes, this, that, and I want her to do XYZ. So I find myself looking at these people, and I just have anxiety and tension, and I feel like I'm not myself when I'm showing up. Well, I think I'm still, parts of me are myself, but there's other parts where I'm like, deep down inside, there's this fear, and the fear is fueling me, and I'm exhausted. I really am exhausted. I actually am exhausted. And they say, like, when you're about to when you're trying to get into your 30s, when you're about to get into your 30s, you stop caring about what other people think. And I'm like, oh, please, Lord, let it be true for me. Because I'm tired, okay? This life has drained me, okay? I want to stop caring about what other people think. I want to be able to do the things that fuel me. I want to be able to just do and not worry, and not, wonder like, is this good? Not secretly send this to someone and be like, okay, what do you think? Or waiting for feedback, waiting for a compliment, waiting for something like, to just go and to feel enough and to feel grounded, and just for the surety and the security to wash over me like dew, I think even when I know it's easy for people to say like, okay, this is what God says about you. Believe what God says about you. And I realize that, when I say that to other people, I'm like, do I believe that? Do I believe that for myself? When I say like, but God says you're worthy, God says that you're enough, like, do I believe that? Like, there's moments where God will whisper to me that he is proud of me. Right before this, God said to me that he loves me, and I broke down. Because I realized that when he says these things to me, what I'm looking for on the outside, what I'm looking for from my father, what I'm looking for, from strangers, what I'm looking for from bosses, what I'm looking for, from my husband, what I'm looking for from friends, what I'm looking for from outside. When God says that to me, do I believe it? When he says he approves me, do I believe it? Does it actually bear root? Does it get rooted? Do I actually allow it room to sit with me, to actually get comfortable with me, to actually just make home inside of me? Do I allow what he says to just be a seed on the soil of my heart and allow him to water it and allow it to sprout out and to bloom and to stay bloomed? I think that if I must be really honest with myself, I think that I allow men, as in like humanity, to have more significance in terms of their view of me in comparison to God. I think I put too much significance in them because obviously, like, it's what, it's who they see. They see you in the flesh, you hear their voice clearly in day and night, and you're interacting with them. You can touch them. They're close by. You can smell them. They're right there. So the significance feels quite real. It's right there in front of you. It makes you feel some type of way because it affects you in the flesh here. But when God says that to you, it's not something that you can smell. It's not something that you can just touch physically, because what he says to you is on the inside. When you hear him speak to you, it's on the inside. So, do I allow him the space? Do I make what he says to me, do I create a home for that? And my answer, to be very honest with you, is that I haven't done that. I think I struggle with that. And I think I don't allow him to. I think I don't allow him to because for so long I've gotten so used to this is where it comes from. Instead of just saying actually where it really comes from is from God. To trust that what he says trumps what anyone else can say, but make room for that. Make a home for when he says he's proud of me. Make a home for when he says he loves me. Make a home for when he says I am enough. Make a home for when he says that I am beautiful. Make a home for when he says that I am creative, that I can, that I am blessed, that when he sees me, he's so happy, he's well pleased, that I am seen, loved, and heard by him. I need to make a home. I really need to make a home. So that all of these parents, friends, bosses, and boys can't have authority over me, can't have a say, and can't disappoint me because I keep finding approval, seeking approval in them. There's something that I heard, well, I was watching another interview. Ciao. I was watching another interview, and it was Juliet and Tim Ross. Oh, guys, Tim Ross, super amazing. Go check out his Upset the Gram on Instagram, and In the Basement on YouTube. Like so. Ooh, ciao, so good. But his wife, Juliet, listen, I was like, if I was to ever be in front of her, I better come correct. But no, bless, she was really, really great. But she was speaking about her upbringing as well. And she was saying, she was just sharing how, in her upbringing, what her mom would say to her, because, her parents didn't have that great of a marriage. They got divorced. But, they really cared for her. They tried not to show her, everything. But she knew what was going down. And her mom would never speak ill of her dad, And this is where she made room for people to disappoint her. She made room to, she understood. She basically understood the principle of, of the fact that humans are human. Humanity will disappoint you. They will, fail. They will make mistakes and all of those things. So she has created enough room to give people grace for that. She said that, she's the kind of person that she is. She's a mind over matter kind of person. I was like, child, I wish. But a mind over matter kind of person. She had made up her mind at such a young age as to, who people are, what humanity is, but also who God is. Like, she had a very clear view and decision. She made a home of who God is. And, her mom would tell her, randomly, she would say, she would call her like sweet names, but for the sake of this conversation, let's just say, honey boo, your dad is your dad here on earth. And, if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be here. But you have only one father who is in heaven. Okay. And then, she'll just say it on another random day, over breakfast, whatever. She'll say it again, darling, your dad is your dad here on earth. You have only one dad. And, because of him, you're here. But you have only one father who is in heaven. And she would say that again on a random day, sweetie pie, your dad is your dad. Okay? Without him, you wouldn't be here. Your dad is your dad. But you have only one father who is in heaven. And of course, she would say it over again. Your dad is your dad. But you have only one father who is in heaven, who will not fail you, who will always be there for you, who loves you, who cares for you. And I'm going to add in here, who has already approved you. So yes, your dad is your dad, and often we associate our earthly father's characteristics, mistakes, joys, or whatever, memories or lack thereof. And we take that and halo that onto God, whereas God is very different. He's not man. Two, he is God. But 3, he is our one Father who is in heaven, who will never disappoint us, because he's not man. He will not disappoint us. What he says, it is true, and he's faithful to his promises. He is generous, he is kind, he is patient. He knows everything about us, So if we know that we have one dad, if it wasn't for our dad, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for our dads, we wouldn't be here. I mean, that's reality, biology. No matter how we came, whether it's through love or trauma, and that's okay. We still have one Father who loves us, who approves us, who is in heaven, but also is with us when you've accepted Christ, to say, okay, cool, I believe in you, and he's with us, and we only have one Father who doesn't disappoint us, who's already approved us. So as much as, for example, for me, I may be seeking my dad's approval, and I may be seeking my dad's approval in other people. Okay, all right. Okay, Dad came and kicked me. I may be seeking my dad's I may be seeking my dad's approval in other people. I'm seeking my dad's approval in other people. Like, even for someone to tell me that I'm beautiful, I think sometimes a little girl in me is just wanting my dad to say certain things. And you know what's funny? Even when you get those compliments or you get that well done, it never sits. It never actually sits with you, and it just never stays. It never, because the next day something can happen. You're like, ooh, back to square one again. Ooh, But I have one Father in heaven who will never fail me, who loves me, who has already approved me. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I need to do, because he's already approved me. So no matter how I show up, no matter where I'm at, no matter, what's in my hands, no matter where I'm called to, no matter what title is next to my name, no matter who I'm in front of, no matter who I give to, no matter, what day it is when I'm laying my head down at night, when I wake up in the morning, God has already approved me. He's already approved me. So I just need to make a home. And I don't need to actually actively seek my dad's approval anywhere else. I just need to know. Instead of seeking, I just need to know. Make a home, make room. Give the soil some watering, give it space. Maybe even just dig the hole to say, you know what, God, just one more time so I can plant the seed finally. So that I can water it with your word, with everything you've said to me. So that I can just give it the light. Let me open the curtains. Let me take away my clouds of doubt. And make room. Let the sun come and shine. Oof, I feel that. Let the sun let the sun come and shine on what you have said to me. I just think about Jesus. I think about Jesus, and I think about what he said, what he did, how he walked, how he loved, and the grace and the mercy. He seeks mercy rather than sacrifice. I read that this morning in Matthew. I want to say Matthew 12. I want to say Matthew 12, but God seeks mercy rather than sacrifice. But yes, creating that room, watering it with his word, letting the sun shine on that seed so it can sprout, so it can grow, so it can bloom and stay bloomed. Because he's the one who takes care of me. He's the one who looks at me. He's the one whose face is upon me. And I always pray that his face is upon me. He's the one who says that I am enough. He's the one who says that I'm a masterpiece. He's the one who calls me his daughter. He's the one who says I'm a royal priesthood. He's the one who says I am called and anointed for this time, for such a time as this. He's appointed me where I'm at. He's already allocated everything. He's provided for me. He's seen within me that no matter what mistakes I make, no matter the mess I make, no matter the insecurities, no matter the pain, no matter the confusion, no matter the doubts, no matter the journey that I've taken to get here, he still has already approved me. No matter how many times I've sought approval elsewhere, no matter how many times I've tried to find my dad's approval elsewhere, my Father in heaven has approved me. He has approved me. Yeah. I don't even know what else to say from here. I think I needed this more than actually sharing it with anyone else, but I do pray I do pray that this unlocked something for someone else as it has been unlocked for me. And I thank God, because prior to this session, I was like, God, I don't know what I'm going to say. But as he does, the Holy Spirit just came and did his thing. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. I may need to listen to this podcast myself. I think that's about it. Yeah. I'll part with these words. I'm gonna just repeat them. From Juliet Ross, hi, I'm saying this to you. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you have been cleaning, if you have been working, if you've been just lying down and closing your eyes and listening, I'm just gonna say this to you. That your dad, your earthly dad, whether you know him or not, whether you love him or not, whether you like him or not, whether he was present or not, whether he made you proud or not, whether he gave you gifts or not, whether he tucked you in or not, whether he cared for you or he hurt you, whether he disappointed you. You have one dad. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be here. So we're thankful that you're here. But remember, you only have one Father in heaven. A Father who is not man. A Father who will not fail you. A Father who loves you unconditionally. A Father who sees you, who knows you. He knows every single word before you say it. He knows the roots of your pain. And he knows the highs of your joy. He knows you. And he's already approved you. So make a home for him. Make a home for his words. So that they can actually bear root. And they can sprout. And they can bloom. And the sun can shine on you, can shine on those areas, and you can just be free. You can be free. Let's be free, y'all. And that's that on that. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this has helped. I pray this goes far and wide to whoever needs to hear this, that you and I, we are already approved. Let's not be so fearful. Let's be free so that our fears don't turn into people pleasing and anxiety and make us sick. Let's be free so we can be whole and joyful. And we can breathe. Child, we can be agile. Okay, I'm out. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.